I take personal responsibility, by the way, most importantly, for the vote to leave the European Union.
His main task as Prime Minister will be to try and convince people that he's serious, because he's got this inveterate, almost irresistible knack for a joke and for a stunt, and he finds it very difficult to be serious. And I think the one thing he is really serious about is being a revolutionary in the sense of being pro-Brexit. He's very, very serious about Brexit. He thinks it should happen whatever, no matter what. And that we should be out on October 31st. A lot of people think that's crazy, but he thinks that's the will of the people. And believe it or not, there's quite a lot of popular support for that because people like simple solutions. He gives them a simple solution. Let's just get out and then let's sort out the detail later. And that's why I think he thinks it's in his political interest to be remembered in history as the guy who took Britain out of European Union. He will, as you expect, try and mimic what Churchill did. So in many ways, Churchill was quite rude to people in many ways, politically speaking. And yet he obviously adored the Queen, adored the royal family, adored tradition. But there is a long tradition in Britain of rudeness. Look at our parliament. The reason it's popular overseas is that people really do go for each other in the House of Commons. That rude sense of politics, of robust debate, he will try and say is a British attribute. He's like Trump in many ways. He's a big showman, he's a big performer. Also, he's a populist. Like Trump, he likes this division between the elite, and he thinks he's not part of the elite, although he is very much part of the elite. But he likes to picture himself as being on the side of the working man against the elites. And therefore, he will play the game of political incorrectness a lot of times. Johnson doesn't care about the fact that Trump is so unpopular in Britain. He's swallowed that. He's priced all that in. Why? Because he really, really needs America when Britain's out of the EU. He's desperate to have a trade deal with the US. He, as I say, will face exactly the same situation Theresa May has, which is a hung parliament in Britain, a very small majority. He'll be living week by week to try and see if he can get a Brexit deal done. My personal hunch, is that that's almost certainly impossible and that there will have to be a general election pretty soon. Now, the only way to avoid that is if he can pull some miraculous Brexit deal out of the bag with Brussels. I don't know if that's going to happen. The odds are that it won't happen. The odds, in my opinion, are that then he will basically be forced into a general election. He will say he doesn't want a general election, and believe me, people in Britain are sick of elections, they're sick of referendums, but he knows that, and that's why he's saying he doesn't want one. But I suspect he'll be forced into one, because the real reason for that is a lot of Conservatives, but it's a small number of Conservatives particularly, are worried about no deal, and a tiny number are so worried that they'd rather have a general election than have no deal Brexit. And so that's why I think at some point in the autumn, and certainly next spring at the latest, we're going to have a general election in Britain.